What's going on, y'all, and welcome back to another Etheria restart video. As you guys saw from that intro, we are going to cover a full auto Inferno Terrormaton run, which I think is one of the first of its kind, because I think a lot of people are still manualing it to get those like 40-second sub clears. But I really want something full auto, especially if I'm going to be farming something. I really don't want to manual a run over and over. And additionally, with the 2x drop event coming this weekend, I wanted to try and set something up. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to break down all of it, explain what happened, how we came about, and then I'll show you guys exactly the stats we're rocking. Now, guys, full transparency, it's not 100% just yet, but I'll talk about that during the video on what I've been doing to really improve the odds of success. And then additionally, I know, guys, that like Lily and Shadow Sania, it's kind of lame that we have to use these units to clear current content, but there are alternative teams that I will mention at the end. And I do think more teams will pop up as the game progresses. Just wait a little bit as people get more lattices, as people get more income of resources, that I think it'll become easier to use more, maybe standardized comps instead of these sort of like dot teams with Shadow, Sania, Lily. But anyways, guys, thank you so much as always for tuning in. Let's get to it. So the day started with one of my fellow streamers. Shout out to X Sky King. He told me, Car, I heard you could maybe full auto the Terrormaton if you build a faster Holden around like 267. And so we kind of messed with some settings, did a dry run, and it looked promising. It wasn't even close to auto just yet. I noticed a lot of issues, mainly with Lily's targeting because of using Valerian and the attack up. I'll explain all of that here in just a second. But there was a lot of stuff we had to fix. But the promise was there, and the fact that I was already investing in a Holden character because I like him for, one, any unit that I like for PvP. If they're also usable in PvE, I don't mind investing in them big time. So I knew this character I was going to invest in anyways. So this is how the journey started. We wasted a ton of resources testing a lot of different things. And if you guys notice this level 1 helmet, it's actually intentional. So let's go through the comp real quick. We'll explain all of it. And yeah, hopefully you guys, if you can start working towards this, maybe you already have your dot team set up. I'll show you guys the steps to take it to that next level so that you can full auto instead of having to manual every single run. Once again, I think this is going to be super important for that 2x event. And if you guys want to start farming Terrormaton for that juicy Fury Edge 6-piece, that module, especially if you guys that are also farming the Nico Nana Inferno Shells, the Hoyan Inferno Shells, which I'll have a separate video for you guys. I'm also clearing those as well on auto. Yeah, we'll cover that in probably tomorrow's video, so stay tuned for that one. So first up, guys, we have Lily, and no, this speed bloodbath set is definitely not necessary. In fact, I would actually rather prefer to go like a defense set here, Unbreakable. I just unfortunately did not have a shell, an artisan shell that had Swift Rush, Unbreakable, ready to go. Additionally, we did actually just one tap this Animus 20 speed, but this overall speed on Lily, if you guys can see here, I have no like speed subs. The overall speed isn't too important. In fact, we're only like around 256 on the Lily. I don't think that breakpoint, obviously the faster is better, but in general, the main thing that I like about this is the artisan pet. I think Lily is a great character to use artisan. One, she doesn't really need effect accuracy. So we can actually stack things like defense. And if you guys can see here, I had to resort to a flat defense just for the testing in this video. Wasted a ton of resources. Once we get a defense percentage with either 3 Bloodbath or 3 Swift Rush, I can swap this out. But for now, it's okay. And then we have the defense bonus. Once again, defense bonus. If I can get some speed subs here, that would be even better, but we got to use what we have at the moment. I do think this is also going to be nice just for generic other content, as this really helps her survivability. And then the artisan shell will try to protect us from getting the one shot. As soon as Terrormaton, since we're leaving the right arm up, if he kills anybody, it's a bad time. Sometimes I could fail a run. But this is the main purpose of Lily, and I wanted to start by explaining her twin trick if those of you guys do not use her. The main thing with this is that we can enable we mark a target. Typically we want Shadow Sania, who's going to be our main damage dealer. She applies 2 dots at the same time on her S1, and we really want to start enabling her. And Lily, if you didn't know, on her S1 can pull the character that is marked with a twin trick. So our main goal is to kind of just enable and cycle the the Shadow Sania, and Lily will act like another dot dealer. We want to stack as many dots as possible to make sure the run is fast and consistent. The problem is this will auto target in, when you do full auto, she will auto target the highest attack unit. And since Holden here needs to be the opener to strip the immunity, if you guys can see here, he's around, I currently have him around 271. He actually messes up because we have to use Valerian as well. It's a whole process. And by the way, I just realized, I think I did a lot of this recording, guys. I just realized right now, I think I did all of that video recording missing a helmet. I swapped the Bramble over to Fengus, but yeah, you can see, I see that here. In general, I don't need the Bramble set bonus. I just forgot to equip it. Wow, that might have helped with some consistency. But yeah, we don't need that extra set here. Just whatever you have on. I'll talk about her in just a second. And if you watched my last video, though, I kind of explained the Hazy Dream. But long story short, if you missed it and you don't know what Valerian does, when she goes into her full S3, because we have, you know, we start the match with S3 because we max this out here. Very important. She will actually give allies that take a turn both a barrier as well as a buff effect that includes attack. So the first unit will go Holden, and he's going to get the attack up. Now, do you guys see the issue here? Lily will now on full auto. The AI is going to give him the twin trick, the cards, because he has higher attack from the attack buff. So what do we have to do to fix that? One, our first step was remove his helmet. So we had to just give as little attack as possible here on the helmet. Once we fix everything, we can get better stats here. The run will be more consistent, yada, yada, yada. But for now, this is one of our techs to remove the attack here. Additionally, I did end up having to level up my Shadow Sania. Where is she at over here? To 6 stars to get some extra attack as well, because we wanted to make sure that Lily always targeted her. In future testing even, I had her at like level 35 during the stream. That's kind of what we settled at. But actually, I think when I upgraded Fengus's shell and stuff, he started to get the attack buff as well. So I used to run a Jackal Guard here instead. But for now, we're going to chill on that because it might be giving too much flat attack right here. Gives like plus 45 or 55. And then we had to increase. I just went ahead and just leveled it to 50. I wasted some Animus XP. Usually you don't want to max out your character, guys, because they will naturally level throughout the run, and the stats you gain from it isn't that important. But for the speed tuning with Lily, it was very fine tuned. We had to just max this out, so I said screw it. We just went the whole way. So let's see. We started with Lily. Let's talk about the Holden just real quick. I think you do want to get him to be around 260 plus. I don't know the exact speed yet. I'm still not at the point where I can outspeed the right arm. I don't know if that's important, but as long as we outspeed the boss, we can strip his immunity and get the ball rolling. Units like Holden are very important. Unlike Heinrich, we really need this attack break that he delivers while he's also stripping. The res down is also really, really nice for dot teams. I don't know how impactful that's going to be because unfortunately Etheria does not tell us what the boss resistance is, but any extras help. And honestly, I think this is huge with my Fengus because I actually had to lower his effect accuracy from 200. But yeah, I'll show you guys when we get there. Right now you could lattice this, but I don't think it's necessary because this will be a 70% chance, assuming we have enough effect accuracy. And the fact that he's fired, we should have enough 70% chance to land both of these after dispel, 70% each, I should say. So as long as we dispel, I think it's a good shot, right? Maybe we can increase this later once I get more lattices. I did have to skill up the S1. I don't think this is super important besides the speed tuning. Where is this at here? The speed tuning, I actually had to get the +5 and the +10 here because once again, I had to like nerf some of my own gear, so I don't have any speed subs on this to maintain, you know, lower attack. But once again, once that all gets better, I can make this guy faster. We can upgrade our gear overall. But for now, this is kind of what we have to do to make sure on full auto. Once again, all the problems that arise from this is because we want to run on full auto, and the AI does a lot of inefficient moves. Next up, let's go ahead and just talk about Valerian real quick. I didn't have this little module on the entire time, but as you guys saw, it didn't really matter. But of course, I think that will help provide better barriers and stuff, so it'll help in the long run. But same classic Valerian build, guys. I don't think you need anything special here. Just rock what you got. Defenses will help with the artisan scaling because he scales off defense. And once again, this will stack with our own barriers that stack off her HP. So we get her own HP barriers for our team. And then we also get a artisan shell barrier, which will scale off of the defense bonuses that we're stacking on these sets. Not too particular about this. Just use what you got. Any combination of HP on her right side main stat, I think, is the best. And then any additional defense you can get to boost the artisan barriers will help out surviving. We really want to just make sure no one dies too early. And that's why Valerian is the queen of this run. Because if anything dies, the boss takes, you know, an extra attack, AoE, just blows your units up, and a lot of times that results in a failed run. So both her cheat death mechanic, her barriers, and her pet barriers will really keep you guys alive. Additionally, her S2 invincibility on auto actually does a pretty good job on the AI. It'll just target the lowest unit, and usually that's going to be what the hands and the Terrormaton are trying to kill. So that might save you another turn to land more dots. Next up, we have the main damage dealer, the Shadow Sania. Now, I do have her on the Bramble because I think this is actually very nice. Landing any extra dots will kind of add to the consistency factor. Any more dots will you know, either like some bad damage runs will help us just get more damage and kill the boss quicker, resulting in more, you know, less chance, I should say, of failure. So I really encourage you, if you can, guys, to get Bramble, but I understand that that might be hard depending on what your gear you're rocking right now, and if you can have like effect accuracy, whatever shell you have, etc. But speed, not too important. Just make sure, you know, she has some type of speed and then high effect accuracy. And additionally, we need to max out, excuse me, that's the wrong place, the S1. I think if you guys are going to do dot teams in general, you could get away without maxing this, but for full auto, I think this is definitely mandatory. Getting all these upgrades to the dots is very helpful. So I would go ahead and just max this out, especially if we can also do the shell farming, the dot team for the Inferno shell farming. Might as well go ahead and just fully invest into her. Now, the shell here, guys, is not really needed for the Terrormaton. This is actually for my Nico Nana Inferno shell farming, which, let's see here. I can, guys, show you real quick why you guys should be farming this if you didn't know. There are some very powerful shells you can start to unlock, like this kind of set here. Look at this alicorn I found just recently. This is how we're going to unlock like the best set bonuses in the game, where we can go like 12 set, 8 set, and a 6 set, like this extra bonus. So you really want to start farming Inferno when you can. I'll have a separate guide for that, covering everything you need to know for both dot teams, and I actually do know a few non-dot teams. If you don't have Shadow Sania, if you don't have Lily, there might be a few things you could try. It is still very difficult. Don't think you can do this with like basic units and the free-to-play teams. It is kind of hard right now, but I will provide alternative solutions when possible. Other than that, I think that's the basics for Shadow Sania dots. Let's go to Fangus next. This gear is actually, I had to change a bunch, and I'm not sure if I'm happy with it just yet. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to 12 Swift Rush here because I'm missing a last. I'm using up all my 3-set speed helmets, or sorry, yeah, helmets here. So he has to just stay at +8. I'd like to get him +12 with 8 Bramble when possible. And additionally, I'd like to raise his effect accuracy, but luckily for Terrormaton at least, the fact that he is red element will help a bit. But this guy is also very important. He's riddled with RNG though, unfortunately. Now, I don't think you need to max S3, and actually I think it's not very useful here in the Terrormaton because typically the boss is either dead or a run is failed if things went super poorly. I think him getting back to the S3 is very rare, at least on my speed. So for now, guys, you could skip this. I do like it though for other content like the Nico Nana, possibly in other areas. But the real, basically just skip this for now. The S2 though I think is extremely important. This is where we're going to get most of his dot damage. He has a 50% chance to assist when anyone on your allied team casts a damage skill, and this is so nice. A lot of times, every coin flip that you do when your allies attack, he's going to try to assist them and get a extra dot in, which is insane. Last but not least, we need the S1 because we're going to be proccing so many attacks. We need to make sure we have the highest chance possible. I believe it's like 15% chance base, and if you double that's only a 30% chance to proc, assuming we have a crap ton of effect accuracy. If we can increase that to 35% on level 5, that means it's a 75% chance, or sorry, excuse me, 70% chance to land dots, which is extremely important and way more consistent. So once again, if you can add Bramble, go ahead and do that. Just make sure he has a lot of effect accuracy. I'll try to go for more than mine, but I think for Terrormaton it's okay because of the elemental advantage. And then for the shell, I kind of just am using what I have. Swift Rush Bramble here. I'd like to get him to 12 Swift Rush and an 8 Bramble eventually. And honestly, guys, if y'all have like a Codex of Magic or something to get that extra dot, just 2 burst S3s in a row, I think that'll be better. But this is fine for now. It gives us some utility. It's really just here for the stats. And then last but not least, who did we cover here? 1, 2, 3. Oh, actually, guys, I think that is it. So that was the last unit. I thought there was one more. All in all, I think that kind of covers the dot team. I want to show you guys one last thing though, and unfortunately I couldn't find the stats for it because everybody and their mom is clearing with dot teams, and the alternative team, I can talk about it real quick. Shout out to Leviatra. I was chatting with him. He is one of the very first clears for Inferno Terrormaton, and he was using a non-Lily, non-dot team. I really wanted to show you guys the footage, and I'm sure he would be okay with it, as well as the stats and stuff, but his showcase, his top clear already got removed from all the dot teams that have been running. They just vastly outspeed this team right here. But those of you that might have these units, there's no Apex LD5, but it's basically a rushdown comp with heavy damage from DT and Chloros, some of the 2 highest damage dealers in the game. We have the Dina for the defense break, Beyonton for buffs, revives, crit damage buff. I think it's just very solid. And then the Veronica is the linchpin, very important here. She will strip the boss of the immunity so that Dina can land the defense break. And then she acts like a fire Valerian, where she'll give that 1-turn soul ward for your team and make sure you don't die. So you need to kill the boss extremely quick. It is a very, very high gear intensive team. But those of you that have been working on your D-Tings, most of us, and those of you that might have a Chloros for your guild, if you just like this guy and you've been investing into him, I think this comp is very, very, it's very cool. So you can consider using this if you're missing like Dots, Shadow Sania, and Lily. Anyways, guys, I'll have that Nikonon Inferno guide. And once again, I know if you don't have Lily, if you don't have Dots, I'm going to continually search and ask around for teams that don't require really, really difficult and gatekeeping, you know, these LD5s. But for now, hopefully this will help some of you guys out. Stop by the streams. I'm always finding new info and helping out people figure out new team comps. So, yeah. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.